Many people have been hunting them down as well. By the time people realized that they were in the country, it hasn't been easy. People have been hunting them down, but we've been chasing. And finally, we've got them in today. I am talking about Transco Clsg. In case you do not know, but it is the company that is bringing that has brought in the electrical line from Ivory Coast to Liberia to Sierra Leone to Guinea. We have a very high level panel of the team here today. Of course, my name is Julius J. We have just all of them here. Let's go across the table right now and say, welcome to you, sirs. Let's start from here. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Julius. My name is Mohammed M. Sharif. I'm the General Manager for Transco Clsg. On my right, he is Jigba Yela. Jigba Yela is the Director for Finance and Administration. He's the number 2. Then, the way Transco is structured, we have 4 countries. The headquarters is in Abidjan. Then in the 3 countries, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea, we have country managers. In Liberia, the country manager is Jerry Taylor.
Okay. Mr. Taylor, welcome.
Thank you.
How is life like?
Well, it's quite manageable, given the circumstances.
And the financial people are always technical. You can once you see them, you can see the technical capacity in them. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
I hope you're not very technical.
I am technical, that's the nature of the job. But based on principles, standards.
Yes, everything you have to ensure that every cent counts. Where is it going? What is the return?
That's why it's called accountable. You have to be accountable and report. And use response wisely. That's all.
Okay. Now, Mr. Sharif, let's start off this discussion with you. This whole Transco Clsg thing, we want to go to the background, the very source, the very genesis of it. You want to drive us through?
Thank you so much, and I appreciate you welcoming us here in this studio, to you and your management. Like I said on Saturday, where we came from, where we are, and where we are headed. Where we came from, I will start from there. You know, Transco Clsg is an institution that is implementing the CLSG project. And the CLSG project is part of the was part of the WAP priority project 10.
The West Africa Power Pool.
West African Power Pool.
Okay.
So just to call long matter short, in 2012, when the head of states, the 4 head of state of Liberia, signed an international treaty giving a commitment to the region, saying that, look, we want to develop an interconnection line between the 4 countries, coming from Cote d'Ivoire all the way through Liberia into Sierra Leone to Guinea to trade. It was all intended to foster regional integration through trade. So once the presidents signed this particular treaty, it was ratified by their respective parliament. Now, it didn't stop there. Now, the donors decided to come together. 4 donors, the World Bank, African Development Bank, European Investment Bank, and the KfW, that is the German Development Bank. They pooled funds together. After pooling the funding together, governments decided to bring their own counterpart funding to pay for the RAP, that is the Resettlement Action Plan. People impacted by the construction of the line.
Yeah, so how to break some houses down, pass through people's farms.
Exactly. So we have 2 phases, the pre-construction phase and the construction phase. You have to go through the pre-construction phase where you do a lot of documentation, institutional setup, everything. And before the financing can become effective, after signing, in the case of Liberia, in 2012, the World Bank financing was signed, ratified, but it didn't become effective until Liberian government did so many reforms in order to make the project effective. We call them effective conditions. Those were met. They seemed happy with Sierra Leone, where the EU was also providing funding, the African Development Bank providing funding, the same with Guinea. So After that process started around that 2012, 2013, the project became effective 2015. I was recruited in 2014, took office September, given the mandate to build an institution, vibrant institution, that will internal capability capable of building this line from Man in Cote d'Ivoire all the way to Yekepa in Nimba, from Yekepa to Buchanan in Grand Bassa, from Buchanan to Montserrado, Mount Coffee, then from there to the Mana Board Waterside. What are these points? What are the importance of these points? In Yekepa, you have a substation. But before coming to that, let me conclude the pre.
The pre-construction. When it comes to the country stuff,
exactly.
I would like to get that from the.
So, effectiveness conditions were met. The project became effective in 2015.
Okay.
In May, for the World Bank, for the rest of the donors. So we begin the procurement process to procure the EPC contract, engineering procurement Tompkins contract. So the contractor will be responsible to do the design, engineering, at the end of the day, turn the site over to us. So we did that 2017, doing on the sidelines of the ECOWAS summit in Liberia. I think it was in June or so. Yeah. The full president broke ground for this project. We started implementing the project. There where the physical construction started. When we started the physical construction, there was some issue of additional financing. And how did this additional financing came about? The Ebola crisis hit us in 2014 all the way to 2015.
Yeah, that was from the end of 2013, 14. And then
no, 2014, 2015, the Ebola crisis. When the Ebola crisis hit us, we stopped the issue of construction. Besides that, when we did the bidding, the more than anticipated summations of the bid, if you were to put forward to say this is $50 million earmarked for construction, when you do your bid, contractors submit their bid. When you open a financial proposal, you get 55 million. So there was a need for additional financing. So we needed to go back to the countries to seek additional financing from the donors. So we started, that period started in 2017, 2018. It was signed into law. Signed and ratified. The WLA government pushed that forward in the legislature. By the time we did that, it was ratified in the parliament. The previous government signed it, and the WLA government submitted to the legislature, ratified the additional financing, in addition to the existing financing of 144 million for Liberia. That is the World Bank financing, the AFDB. The finance manager will give you the detail of that.
We'll come to it.
So we began the physical implementation of the project to move step by step, sign the contract and move on.
Let me come to Mr. Taylor. In terms of the Liberian portion, where are all the places we can find the Transco line?
Thank you very much for this opportunity, and at least we will be able to tell our people where the line is situated. As the general manager stated, the line starts from Ma in Cote d'Ivoire. But the first point in Liberia, because we count the points by substations, our first substation is, we call it Sekempa, but we call it Yekepa substation.
Okay.
That is a little bit outside of Saniquale. If anybody knows Nimba, where you have the intersection, the road going to Loguatua and the road going to Yekepa, about 2 miles away from the intersection going towards Yekepa is where the first substation is. We have that, and then we have another substation in Botota, Buchanan,
Botota is in
Bon County.
Bon County.
Okay, that is central, almost is central Liberia. Then Buchanan, Mancofe, and Mano. So the line
And just to quickly add to Jerry's Taylor, the Botota substation initially was not included in the full substation when the project was conceived.
Okay.
But when you look at NIMBA, the substation, which is the connection point for NIMBA, is meant to connect households in the entire NIMBA county, can go as far as even beyond NIMBA. Now, what's about Bong? What's about Lofa? What's about Southeastern? So the government, in 2017, we decided to make a case along with to the KFW, so that a substation can be put in central Liberia. So the previous government started making that case. Then when the current government came, ended our whole negotiation, signed it, and it was ratified. That substation was put there so that the projects can be completed. That in a sense that people in Lofa,
so that substation can be able to serve Lofa.
That's
and even on the current efforts of the government for the Simple River can be connected to the Botota. You can easily transport energy from the Simple through the Botota station to any part of Liberia, or outside Liberia you could be exporter. That was the whole concept, the idea. So as we are now, that station will be completed in March.
Okay.
Now coming to Buchanan, also Buchanan substation was meant Grand Bassa, not only Grand Bassa to be connected, but also
Rivers's
Sino, like that. It's a 225 kV volt line.
Yeah, we'll come to the specifications of the quality of electricity.
So I just wanted to make sure to be clear before we forget. Then coming to Monserrado, as I said the last time, Monserrado County, the substation in the Mount Coffee substation. That is the biggest among
the one that we saw.
Yeah, the one you saw is the biggest among the entire CLSG substations for the 4 countries. Yeah, because of the inhabitants of Monrovia and its surrounding entire Monserrado County, that substation is there to absorb that load. You understand? Now, leaving Monserrado, Mount Coffee, you go to Mano. In the Mano substation, it is meant to supply Bomi, Bapolu, Cape Man area around the Sierra Leone border. So that's what currently now the government is working along with the partners to develop that electrification. That's why when you think about the Bomi corridor, the Kakata corridor, the RRA corridor, and the consolidation aspect of it. Just wanted to add that to Jerry's.
Yeah. So you want to continue with how the work has been progressing in Liberia?
Yeah. Thank you very much, GM. You asked where the line is. So the line passes through there. Sometimes people wonder, we don't see a line. Are you on Kakata Highway? Normally, we will tell you, yeah, we are not on Kakata Highway. Of course, we cross right outside of Gate 15 from the Firestone end, because this is huge electricity that you should not tamper with around, inhabitants. So you see that most of the people that have been opportune to have gone to Buchanan will see what we're talking about, because if you get to Buchanan, just approaching Buchanan.
Yeah, just for entering, you see that huge place. I was wondering one time, but what are they doing down there?
Exactly.
And now I know.
So that you can see that visibly. So the line from Yekepa through Botota along the railroad, which is the Metal Steel Railroad, up to Buchanan. Then from Buchanan through Firestone, then a loop up into Mount Coffee, and from Mount Coffee to Mana. Mana substation is our last substation in Liberia, then into Sierra Leone. And of course, Sierra Leone have their own land moving through up to Linsan in Guinea.
Now let's come to the financial man. Let us make sense of the entire project, the financing, and then we break it down to Liberia. So the entire project is estimated at what?
Initially in 2012, when it was designed, it was estimated at $445 million. But for the reasons Mr. Sharif has mentioned, the delays in implementation of the project, the additional cost coming in because of higher cost of materials in the global setting, and depreciation of currency rates that we receive these loans in. In all, to date, as we speak, the total cost of the project is around $530 million.
Okay.
So it has gone up significantly. But then the thing is that this project is a very important project, not only for the 4 countries, but also for the West Africa region. And so because of this, it really has support from international donors who are financing this project. The World Bank is a major player. African Development Bank is also contributing a huge portion for this, and as well as the European Investment Bank and KfW, the German Development Bank. So these 4 donors have really, they are financing the infrastructure, while the 4 countries, Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea, have contributed funds for the environmental and social aspects, and also the resettlement action plan, and also compensation that includes compensation of people affected by the project. All of these things that we need to comply with in terms of the environmental management, the reforestation program, because we are talking about 1,300 kilometers, and in these 1,300 kilometers, some houses have been destroyed, some trees have been cut down. So as part of the design of this project, there was some provision for some trees to be restored. So, and again, people that are affected by the project are adequately compensated, so they don't lose economic value in terms of what they had before the project came.
You said adequately compensated?
Yeah.
Adequately compensated.
Adequately compensated. That's why I'm sitting here today. We really thank the governments and the local communities, because to implement this component of the project really involve the local communities, and they have been very supportive. That's why in the 4 countries, yes, we at times we have little disturbances, but generally the local communities have been very cooperative, because we compensate them adequately, and they understand that this project is for the development of the country and their communities as well.
And coming to the issue of the financing for Liberia, the Liberia portion stands at what?
Liberia portion stands out around, I would say, around 40% of the total cost.
Because it seems we are consuming more of the electricity.
No. The thing is that the way the line is designed, you have, I would say, the longest portion is in Liberia, which is over 500 kilometers. 530 kilometers. And then you also have a very long portion in Sierra Leone, over another 500 kilometers. But then the way it is designed is that the government secure the financing from the donors, and this money is granted or on lent to Transco Clsg, who is implementing the project. So at the end of the day is that even though Liberian government is contributing, say, over $200 million through grants and loans it has received from donors, the responsibility to pay back the loans should not rest on the government of Liberia. It should be repaid through revenues that we will generate from operating the line. So the business is that it's a business. So it has an investment. It should receive revenues from trade, and we should pay back all the costs, including the operator, including administrative and operating expenses, and the debt service that is falling due on the loans that have been taken to finance the construction of this asset.
Before you come, I just wanted to, before we lose sight of the benefit to the people.
Well, we will, and that's the next point. That is where I was coming back to you.
Exactly.
Because we have an understanding of the background and all of the
background, but we need to be clear. What does it mean for the ordinary?
And that's where we're going now.
Exactly.
What does this mean?
This electricity is coming. The donors actually, in the pool fund, the African Development Bank is financing a component called rural electrification aspect of the line along the 1,300 kilometers. 3 kilometers apart on both sides, left and right on the land. All the villages along the land will be electrified through that. Rural electrification component.
Free?
Well, that depends on the government. The government can decide to say, well, a part of their social contribution could be policy direction of individual government, but mostly people in the village, government can decide to. It's not free, actually. It is paid for either by the government or the villagers. So we are bringing it, but it will be very affordable along the line, coming from all the way from Ma to Linsan. Linsan is in Guinea, and it is 1,000 300 kilometers. And what has actually made the project successful, we shouldn't lose sight of the coordination that has been taking place across governments, like the finance minister and finance manager just said. In the individual countries, say for instance in Liberia, you cannot build a line if you are not, if you cannot make sure people that are impacted by the route are paid. And how do you do that? We dealt with local authorities, from the superintendent to the local. We had the local committee, and the Ministry of Energy. They play that leadership role to coordinate across government. That's why we have the regular monthly meeting chaired by the Minister of Energy himself, so that we can flag, we do critical path analysis. There are issues that can really prevent the project from reaching a desired goal or whatever the case may be. Immediately we pick up any interventions. If there are financial issues, we run to the Ministry of Finance. Issue of legal aspect, we run to the Justice Ministry. So the Justice Minister and his colleagues, they have also gone to NIMBA. If there are issues on ground, they will represent Transco to make sure that this regional project, Liberia shouldn't be the cause. Sierra Leone doesn't have the electricity, or Guinea. So this is why we've been ready for, even today, we held meeting in the Minister of Finance office. They want the minister called the one-stop solution approach, where you have the LEC.
And you have glowing words for him.
Yes.
We talk to
no, and that's why I said the last time, even if he may not like it, I will say it, because he's done well. The Minister of Energy as well has done well. Ministry of Justice, the government, they've been doing well since the project started. The governments have actually been doing well across the 4 countries. Because this is a fleshy project, first of its kind. Once it is successful in these 4 countries, it will be, or it can be replicated elsewhere. That's why,
and in different sectors too.
In different sectors. That's why the government, beginning from when it was the groundbreaking was done by the 4 presidents, make sure that nothing tamper with it. And when the new government came, they also pick up from there. And that's how we've been moving with it. Everything be moving fine. And I must admit, today, the Minister of Finance told us we are supposed to develop that metrics to make sure, and his interest was, what would be the cost to the ordinary people? We cannot spend over 500 million. At the end of the day, the price will be the same. No. We have to try as much as possible to reduce that price, so that the people, the poorest of the poor, can be impacted positively. And that is actually linked to the government own agenda. So I just wanted to highlight those things.
Now, what is this? Is this because we have a whole lot of power needs? What is with the various industries in the country? People complain about power. Even right here, sometimes the current cannot even put on this stuff. We have to put a generator on. We spend a whole lot. What is this power going to do for people like us?
One of the interesting things about this power, the issue of reliability. And that's why our infrastructure, the way we ensure that it is a strong and guaranteed infrastructure, we decided to do it EPC way, engineering, procurement, construction, where the contractor will be responsible for the design, does all the procurement of the equipment, later turn over the asset to us, take full responsibility with a guaranteed period, so that the equipment, the asset that will be built, you ensure guarantee and quality. That's number 1. 2, the source of the power from Cote d'Ivoire, history and what we have available to us. They've been very, very reliable in the region when it comes to supply of electricity. Once you can transport the power, unimpeded transit of that power without any interruptions, they can ensure the supply of that power. So we will be there to bring the electricity without any hindrances or so. It is the responsibility of the LEC now, with the support from the government of Liberia and the donor partners, to ensure that households are connected and to ensure theft, losses and things are reduced significantly. Once that is done, you, the end user, certainly we can assure you.
Can you assure the big factory owners across this town that this is power that they can rely on once it is connected to them unimpeded?
Yeah, sure. That's the objective, or one of the objectives of the finance manager can tell you in detail. He's a financial guy. One of the clear objectives is to ensure that unimpeded. And how do we then do? We look internally to build that internal capability, both on the technical side, on the institution side, to ensure that is happening.
How many megawatts of power coming to Liberia?
Well, the line has a capacity. We are equipping single circuit, which is 243. That's the one that is being paid for now, 243 megawatts. But then from the project concept, the project document, when the project was put together, 83 megawatts commitment was made by the three demanding governments, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea. 83. So individual countries, Liberia can take up to Transco, so that we can be the one to pay back, not the government. But then it becomes contingent liability should Transco fail to pay. If we are not able, we can even break even, we can even have the capacity to pay back, ultimately it would be the government of Liberia that will pay. So to ensure that, part of our own strategic objectives is, one, our operating costs will streamline to the extent minimum that is required to ensure that we minimize cost, so that the tariff that we will use to transmit, since our own functioning will be a function of the revenues that will come from the transmission line, we have to ensure the cost is down. Which we are ensuring.
Now, let me go to the finance, man. You are not doing the distribution. The LEC should be doing that. I am concerned about how you ensure that you are raising revenue.
Very good question, and that was the subject of the meeting we had today with the Minister of Finance. So we all know the state of electricity sector, we know the state of LEC. So what we discussed today, and we are thankful and grateful to the Minister of Finance and the government of Liberia, they've understood that indeed LEC needs support within a certain period of time to help them strengthen their processes, strengthen the distribution network, make them viable, make them strong in a way that they can be able to deliver this crucial service to the people of Liberia. And for this to happen, LEC also needs some investment. They've got some investment needs. Of course, we know the state of the distribution network in Liberia. It needs improvement. We can only do this if they have money. We know that they need transformers. We know they need a lot of other things that should make them viable. And also, the people of Liberia also has a responsibility to make sure that the assets that LEC is building, are protected, are used in a way that will not present further cost to LEC. So once LEC is strong, once LEC is viable, LEC can be able to deliver electricity that is reliable, affordable, make it cheaper, so that at the end of the day, the benefits of the project is realized. This project aims to bring down the cost of electricity for the people of the region. That's one fundamental objective of this project. It also aims to make it reliable, 24 hours availability. That's what we are pushing for. So for this to happen, there must be a period of transition. We are coming from a situation where we know the state is very poor right now. So there is a period of transition. What we're looking at maybe in the next 5 years, all of the things that we need to do with the government support to LEC and the things we are doing on our side to ensure that the line is available, the line is equipped, fully equipped, and all the protection systems that we need to ensure that the performance of the line, the efficiencies of the line is at a very acceptable level. All of these things should ensure that the customer receives a lower tariff and a reliable supply that will help them to plan and forecast and do their business in an environment that will ensure growth and economic development for themselves and the people of Liberia, as well as the people of the region.
So let me come to you, sir, because you could have the unimpeded electricity, very reliable, coming through the system, and then you have a community where the transformer is off. It is so overloaded that the current is kind of tripping. Then people think, but what did they see as you were telling us? They say they were bringing current uninterrupted, then we can't see the current. Well, we can't get it. You want to comment on that?
Yeah. I think today's meeting was very good with the Minister of Finance, Minister of Energy, and LEC. This is to set the basis at which efficient and effective distribution of power is. And the finance manager just said, investment in the system going to help. The efficiency of the system going to help. The effectiveness of the system going to help. So it's not only from the LEC side, it's also from the side of the population. How do we buy in? That is, we have to first own this project. Are these things, are they from outer space? No. This is our property.
Yeah, issues of meters. You have the current, I can get meter easily. So and that doesn't happen in Africa. You will get a meter very easily.
It doesn't happen. So you're talking about transformers, you're talking about meter and the rest of it. Effective investment into the system, good ownership into the system, then the efficiency comes about. So this is what we're looking at. So it's many pronged approach into
and we need to also really differentiate what we have control over, what LEC has control over.
Yes.
The Transco asset is a high voltage 225 kV line that is coming. We are not into distribution in the communities. LEC is clearly responsible for that. That's why we have connection points where we mentioned from the beginning substations. LEC responsibility is to make sure transmission and distributions are effective and efficient, and that was one of the topics today we discussed in the Ministry of Finance. And also, our line is not the cross-border. There is an existing electricity in Ganta, Sanikole in the southeast. That is a 33 kV line, which is far lower than what we are bringing. And the importance of what we are bringing, assuming ArcelorMittal wants to do semi-processing in Liberia or so, you think about the capability of high voltage or so, we have that now at the Yokepa substation. The same thing at the Botuta for Central.
I saw one big stuff that you showed me that you are taking it to ArcelorMittal.
Exactly. That is a 70 MVA transformer. You have that, no investor can say, well, I'm not going to Bon County because I don't have that capability if I'm to do processing or whatever will have voltage. It is there. I'm not going to Grand Bassel. It is there. I'm not going to Bomi or Kipman. It is there. That's how the project was conceived, and that's how.
So it means that the investors now can move out into the counties because you are going to have the kind of electricity that is sustained.
As we sit now from Bapolu, there is a factory there called is it Futa or what? No. Which are the factory that is company? One company.
No, it is this Orioles Gold.
Orioles mine
expanding.
Expanding in the Kipma
area. So now what we need to do for LEC, just to build that medium voltage line from our substation in Mano, so that that particular company can connect, whether it's 20 megawatts or 7 megawatts, they can use it. When they want to do processing, they can do it. The high voltage capability is there. So I just wanted to make it clear, because sometimes you listen to news and radio, people are mixing the two. The CLG line is completely different from the cross-border electrifications, which is a lower voltage, medium to low voltage. For ours, it's a high voltage of 225 kV line.
So as it stands, and any of you can take this on, various governments have contributed. At the end of the day, the current is going to be here. At the end of the day, the population expects that it's going to get better, because there are some communities here that are not connected at all. Breville, RIA Highway, and plenty of them listening now may just be like, okay, we hope. I don't know. It may not be your role, but if LEC should be connecting everywhere in every town, that looks overwhelming.
Let me comment on that. You have heard about the Liberia Electricity Regulatory Commission. Right?
Yeah.
From there, you see that there is a regulator now. So there will be players in the system. So they are, if you read their documentation, I think you've been hosting them here, and they told you that there will be more players in the system than just LEC. So when you have more players in the system than just LEC, you're going to have competition, you're going to have service.
So for example, let's say Nimba County, there is a company assigned there to do the transmission and distribution. So they get it from Transco's point and connects all of those places.
Yes,
and they are paying through them, and then they are paying tariffs to Transco.
Our anticipation now is we have what we call the jungle power. Jungle power is now depending on the cross-border electrification, as GM said. But if we come on live, we anticipating that the cross-border will cease to exist. Then jungle power now can take power from the substation in Yekepa, which we call Yekepa substation, and that will give them more power than they are having right now, because the one they having is medium voltage. We having high voltage, so you're going to have reliable and affordable power for whatever the jungle power is.
Just to add on to what Jerry is saying, I know for sure that in Liberia you have many other components financed by donors in the electricity sector. So apart from Transco, in order to support LEC, improve this distribution network, I know there are a lot of other projects financed by AFDB, by World Bank, by KFW. All of this is geared towards, it's a huge task, as you rightly said, and it requires a lot of money. But then, I think what is happening now is that gradually LEC will receive the necessary support, and they will improve their efficiencies, and they will strengthen the distribution network. So gradually, it's going to take time. Certainly, it's going to take time for all of these communities to be connected, but gradually, by the way we see things, with Transco coming on board, it provides a huge opportunity. And so over the next 2 to 3 or 5 years, there should be significant difference in the state of the electricity sector from what it is essentially today. So today we are sitting talking about transformers not available, meters not available. In the next 2, 3, 4 years, this should not be the topic of today. It should be how are we extending the sector into other areas that are not benefiting. But it takes a lot of planning, it takes a lot of commitment, and let's talk of coordination among the key players. And that's why in the Liberia environment, I think it's very good the Minister of Energy hosts every month high-level meetings of all stakeholders, which is good. At least it sets out, it highlights, it brings every player into the room, and then they can sit and talk about the issues, key issues affecting the sector and how to address these issues going forward.
I can imagine us paying 15 to 20 cents per kilowatt hour. Is that possible?
It's possible.
It is possible, but wait.
I don't want just saying.
For the pricing level, what we can tell you, we have provided the opportunities. All LEC and the people of Liberia need to do, just harness that opportunity to see how best you can make use of it. You are bringing electricity, no interruption in the supply. Currently, LEC is negotiating with Cote d'Ivoire on a power purchase agreement. That has to be signed before any trade commences. So, that is ongoing. Hopefully, by next month, we will be concluding that. Immediately that is done, if LEC gets a good deal, at the end of the day, LEC will be coming along with the leadership of the Ministry of Energy with the price tariff structure, because you don't want to see LEC interfering in a tariff structure, because there is a regulator monitoring that aspect. So it's a kind of tripartite arrangement with the regulator, the energy sector, and even the Ministry of Finance. At the end of the day, the government will be communicating to the public through maybe LEC or the Ministry of Energy, which is the policy arm, to the Liberian people. The actual, we can only tell you it was significantly dropped from where it is. My understanding is that currently it's at 35 cents, right?
35 cents
So,
per kilowatt hour.
Yeah, by kilowatt hour. The individuals pay that amount per kilowatt hour. So it will significantly and I agree with my finance manager. In a sector, it is difficult. Transmission and distribution is expensive. And it is not just LEC, but Liberians, we need to take ownership of our asset, of our properties, to cut down the cost, because in many instances, the cost of the electricity to the end user, you will have to consider cost of producing that electricity, and the cost of producing it, if the losses are so high, ultimately that cost will be transferred to you.
Especially through power theft.
Exactly.
And sometimes some of the employees themselves involved in
exactly. And your salaries come from LEC, and you expect LEC to make money, to make profit, to pay you, and at the same time the losses going up. So these are things that not just LEC, not just the government, but the Liberians themselves need to also.
Before we take some calls from the people, who manages your infrastructure? Do you manage it forever and ever?
The infrastructure is owned by Transco. That's our clear objective. We finance, construct, own, operate, and maintain it. That is, and the company is for 99 years to be in existence for 99 years. Okay. Transco, and we are going to pay back all these loans. That's why it is critical, very important for Transco to be financially viable. And in order to be financially viable, countries need to trade on the line. You need to take on you can't spend over 500 million and you can't trade. No, the asset would be like a white elephant up there. You went to the donors, told them, well, we can make things happen. We can, one, regional integration. We can do it through trade under the ECOWAS umbrella, through the WAP master plan. And they took this project, brought it up. It was bottom, but they brought it up as a priority project so that...
You mean the current government?
No, the previous government. Yeah, the previous government. So it was brought up as part of the priority projects in WAP, West African Power.
West African Power.
So once it was brought up, donors came together. We can finance it, but countries need to commit themselves. And that was why the fourth president then signed a treaty, international treaty binding the four countries, ratified. And in that treaty, it is stated that the special purpose company, at that time, it wasn't named Transco. It was later named Transco, meaning Transco means transmission, Co means company. CLSG. C stands for Cote d'Ivoire, L stands for Liberia, S stands for Sierra Leone, G stands for Guinea. Transco Clsg. But in the original document or documents, stated there as special purpose company. So the treaty mandated the governments, you have to make sure that Transco is viable in order to deliver this electricity, affordable electricity to the people, as well as be able to pay back the loans.
Okay. 0777 995 0555 995 995 are the numbers. We're hosting the highest level management team of Transco Clsg. You can make your comments, you can ask them questions as well. Welcome. Let's hear you. What's your name?
Good evening, Julius. Good evening to the guests in studio this afternoon. My name is Aaron Bakusei, a true son of River G. Cut across from Monrovia.
Do they have four sons of River G?
No, we all are true sons, but I'm one of them.
Okay.
So, Julius, let me say bravo to them. My question has to do with the issue with the Southeast. I listened to them. They said the West African power pool that is in the Southeast is not as powerful as theirs. So my question then is, and they have one station they built in Buchanan. So I want to know what happened to countries like River G, Grand Cru, coming towards Red, because you got a West African power pool in Maryland and Grand Julius. So River G and Sino and Grand Cru, they are up. So will they provide electricity for those areas too? That's my question. Okay,
thanks so kindly. Welcome. And let's hear you. What's your name? Yeah, go ahead.
Listen to your studio guests. I think they are focusing now is on TNT, what we call distribution and transmission. But my concern is at the utility level, the household level, we don't have national electrical code and standard. And most of the people connection they do here, you see them using wire that not supposed to be where they are placing it. Are they going to have a team that will make sure that these households are properly electrified before giving them power?
Okay. Thank you. They will answer the questions. Let's see who's on this line. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Yes, good evening, Julius and your guests.
My name is Delavator. I'm calling from the Ravasi Highway.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, well, just to say thank you to the team in studio, but to ask a specific question. I see the early, I see people going around my community, especially Drazon, planting poles a few days. Are those poles projects actually in any way related to what they are doing?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, who's on this line? 0777 700 995 0555 995 995. Okay, welcome. Let's hear you.
Yeah, good afternoon, Brother Chidoche.
Yeah, let's hear you.
I'm Webster Brown, calling from Locaton Brush Street.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to tell the studio guys thank you. Yeah, because it's been someone we're calling for a very long time. But I got one question to ask them. Yeah, if LEC will not be the sole distributor of calling, because when LEC will give a hard time. People come from a blue or you go to them, will give a hard time, your land get problem, they will drill before they can your community. And for me, the community I live in for now. First, dependent pool in my community. I never see coil on a particular pool up to now. For every chain up to now, no coil on a particular pool. So I want you to get people who will be able to be fair, to be able to share the coil, to be able to portray LEC effort. Yeah, to see our best, to go to reach the community.
Thank you. Welcome. Let's hear you, former Deputy Public Works Minister Roland Giddings.
Thank you. And let me say welcome to Sharif. Sharif, welcome. And
thank you.
Look, I'm happy that this project is where it is. But one of my disappointment that will continue to be with me is that, LEC has always had sufficient generation in recent. And the problem has always been distribution. So, we should be excited about the CLSG, which we all, work towards, and it is here today. But I think we should manage our expectation because, as they're saying, the CLSG Transco does not have authority over what's happening in terms of transmission and distribution. So LEC really needs to have that capacity to be able to, deliver what is going to be brought. Now, they're talking about only 27 megawatts for now that Liberia is going to get. I know that can increase later on, but LEC should have the capacity to be able to distribute. And if that doesn't happen, the CLSG will not be what all of us looking to see it to be. But let me just say thank you. We are happy that at least it is coming online. And I hope that the government can continue to work with LEC and even the partners to see how they can work. LEC has an internal problem. And the problem is not just about capacity, it's also about serious corruption in the system. It has to be taken care of in a serious way too. And if it's not taken care of, there will be serious problem. The distribution is not going to happen. And we're going to have that power hanging up there in that 225 kV line, and it's never going to get to the customer. So, gentlemen, thank you for the hard work. But I hope LEC really get on this and the government work with them to be able to build the capacity and clean up the system so that distribution can become the thing that get the power to hustle. Thank you.
Thanks so kindly. Welcome. Let's hear you. Hello.
Good evening, Julius.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm Katie. Emmanuel Katie Poon. I'm a resident of Broadview, District 17.
Let's hear you. I always talk about Broadview coming online.
Yeah, and I like you for that, for your advocacy. Broadway has service settlement, 3 city, 4 township. In fact, we are the second most populated district in Liberia, next to district number 4. We have the population. So it baffles me every time when we see other districts that we are more populated than NC cannot reach them. It pains our heart every time we pass through district number 4.
And you have some of the best houses in this country in that place.
Certainly, right? We can be compared to River G. We got more population than River G, River 7. So, why is it that the governor of Liberia doesn't want to bring anything to district number 17?
That one is a question for LEC.
Yeah, so I'm begging them. For the last 2 years, they have planted few posts in district number 17. There's no LEC. Every time we write letters and other stuff and things, nothing seems to be working for us. So I'm appealing to the guys in studio, at least, if they start their distribution and transmission.
They are not into that. But anyway, they will speak. But thanks. The truth of the matter, they got one place in Abroville called Beverly Hills. They hustle that down there. That's more thing. I don't think I play that also, but no LEC there. Okay, welcome. Let's hear you. What's your name?
Okay. How are you?
Quiet.
Yeah. My name is Sika Ibn from West Point.
Let's hear you.
My brother, all what you guys are seeing in the studio, it's a good thing, but implementation, they shouldn't just be everything on LEC.
Oh.
Because LEC...
But are the people mad? They put one money that they bring the car into your country, or they put it into sharing the food.
Yeah, the LEC system, my brother, is living West Point with the power plant. We hear with the poles. The system ratting. My brother, just imagine. Once the government has just come in, LEC going to be the worst thing. In the night, work with the power self guys and the two.
Yeah, they can just connect all kind of people.
Yes. In the night, the vehicle, use LEC vehicle, so that you be TSOS, technical security on security, or to monitor the workers and know what is going on. And now when it's watch out from a blow, or go there, you'll get it 9 months, 10 more. And then it's going to be the ones that are blowing up the transformer. That's what happening.
Okay.
Yeah, my brother, government realize set up the security system, intelligence or energy to monitor this guy, what is going on.
Okay, thank you. I think that'll be the final call. Let's hold it there. Go back to our guest. Time is already up. Yeah, you listen to the concerns. Some not really for you, but
I know, and I can see the deep concern among the population. Everybody is frustrated. That's why usually we say at Transco that look, not only Liberia but across the 4 countries, people are already yearning for electricity, not just electricity but reliable electricity, affordable electricity for the people, both those in the hospitals, schools, in the households, and so forth. The first question about River G electricity, the WAP cross-border electricity not reaching the well. As I said from the beginning, we are not in the cross-border electrification process. It is the LEC that is taking that has the responsibility for that. What we are bringing is 225 kV transmission line coming from Cote d'Ivoire all the way to Linsan in Guinea, over 1,300 kilometers. For the case of Liberia, we have, as I said, just to summarize, 5 substations just to take care of the entire Liberia. I did mention about Nimba, mention about substation in Yekepa, substation in Botota. Somebody talk about Southeastern. The substation in Botota can be extended as far as, because Liberia is not big. You have a substation in Botota where you can extend it, and the simple river concept.
And the one from Buchanan to...
The one from Buchanan, you can also extend as far as to Riverside area as well. Currently, there are projects LEC is working on. We have some privileged information on those things in the near future, not distant future. Hopefully towards next year or so, you will see connections in some of those places. But I think, as our finance manager said, LEC needs help, not just from the government, from the donors, as well as the Liberian people themselves, and that's what the Minister of Energy.
And someone says, I should ask you people, what would be the function of the hydro if the line is commissioned?
The hydro? Which hydro?
The Mankofi.
Mankofi is there as the capacity of, I think, 88 megawatts. Yes. So Mankofi, if Mankofi has excess capacity, they can use our land to deliver to people in Nimba. They can use our land to deliver people in Grand Bass or even people in Botota or outside of Liberia. So it is built to create an economic of scale. If you in Liberia you have excess, you can sell to Sierra Leone or you can buy, compete in the market. We will bring it for you at an affordable price.
So you can be a distributor. You buy the current from Transco and you distribute.
No, not buying it from. We don't sell electricity.
Yeah.
We don't sell electricity. So we bring electricity. If you buy it from Cote d'Ivoire, the initial supplier will be Cote d'Ivoire. That's how the project was written, conceived. So we said 83 megawatts initially. Individual countries, we have 27 megawatts. So as soon as you sign that PPA, bring it on board. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we are not a distribution company. We are not a generation company. We are just a transportation company. So our job is just to transport from one place to another place. But then it brings in a lot of opportunities, as Mr. Sharif has just mentioned. Even in Liberia, there are places where, and in LEC we all know has excess capacity in the wet season. So in this wet season where LEC has excess capacity, it can even supply regions beyond through our line to places where it will not have gone before. So these are the opportunities, and even out of the country. So these are the opportunities our line bring into the play, and that LEC can use to also improve their revenues.
And finally, sir.
Well, this even goes beyond the CLSG. With the WAP, we call it global plan, with the connection of the 14 countries of West Africa besides Cape Verde. In the long run, all these countries will be connected, and besides Cape Verde, that is offshore. So if we all are on the same web, call it the general infrastructure, like as we speak right now, we have another project called it the OMVG, connecting Guinea-Bissau, Senegal, Gambia. So when this line gets to Guinea, the other line gonna pick up from there. Right now you have Cote d'Ivoire connected to Burkina. It's connected to Ghana. When we are connected as we are connected now to Cote d'Ivoire, by extension we are connected to these countries. So these are some of the things we should look at in the long run to see how
and it is important to keep the region peaceful.
Exactly.
Because if one country is affected along these lines, then it poses problem to the others.
Yeah. That's what we call regional integration through trade.
One thing I wanted to make mention of, you talk about adequate compensation when you brought that in. That is the reason why we completed the compensation. Very small now, a little portion that is left now between, Yegepa substation to the border with Guinea. We have done the compensation of the entire Liberia. That's why you didn't hear noise.
Because I've not really heard noise beyond this thing.
So, and again, he talked about how we operated, with him. So the deforestation that was carried on the 40-meter corridor, within Liberia, we collaborated with FDA to do the reforestation, because we cannot do that. It's not out. Okay. So also we're being looked at and watched over by the EPA to make sure that the right thing is done.
Thanks so kindly to the entire hierarchy of the Transco Clsg. My name is Julius J. Monday, I'll be back here tomorrow. The other team of Augustine Colley and Foyo Faya will be here. We are out. Hope you understood everything you needed to. That's why it is. Thanks to Geographic, who stood behind the camera, and Sidiki Trawali for all the coordinations and all of that.